Welcome to Thin Line Radio Podcast. This is Eric Gladstone. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon, a wonderful day. Man, it was beautiful outside today. It wasn't raining, the sun was shining. I'm wearing cut-off sleeves. It feels very, very nice. Summertime is upon us, folks, and it's coming sooner than we think. It's very nice outside. Hopefully, y'all guys got to hear the last podcast, which was episode number 8. That was in regards of summertime. So especially if you're in the line of work as fire, police officers, EMS workers, dispatchers, you know that around this time of year it gets really intense, really crazy calls. A lot of people are out and moving, so it makes for an eventful shift at work. But anyways, for those that are just now tuning in to Thin Line Radio Podcast, I encourage you to check out the Facebook page, Thin Line Radio Podcast on Facebook. Send me your feedback, information, anything you want to hear, put on there, and definitely listen to all the episodes and watch the funny Facebook Live video pre-show. The first one I ever did is also on there. And if you're into Twitter, we are on Twitter, and you can follow at Thin Line Radio on Twitter, and also if you're on the mobile devices, we are on iTunes for the Apple users, and we are on Stitcher Radio for the Android users. So with all that being said, we are moving on to episode number 9. Like I said, episode number 9 coming at you today. So hopefully you guys can get into this, really enjoy it. This one's going to be kind of different. It's going to be kind of slower paced. Like I said, this one is one of the stories. I guess this happened about 2 years ago. It was in the summertime, and it's really one of those important calls, one that you can definitely put back in your memory and remember. So without any further ado, we're going to get into it. Before I start this off, getting real deep into this, I want to explain my gratitude to everybody that's a police officer, a firefighter, that's in dispatcher, EMS work, all that. You guys do a great job, and it's a hard job that we have, and sometimes it can be very unfortunate. And I find that, especially for me personally, some of the hardest calls, some of the really, really hardest calls to ever take are calls involving children, and that always seems to really tug at the heartstrings and really seems to make for a terrible day when you have to deal with something that's a tragedy or an incident that's involving a child. So with that being said, you guys, especially the responders out there, you guys see it. And that's tough to see, but sometimes as dispatchers, we don't get to hear, or we don't get to see the closure. We're hearing all these things that are happening, and it's very, very hard for us to kind of wrap our heads around it because we're not actually seeing it. But either way, it is very tragic, and as a dispatcher, some of the things that we hear, I don't think anybody should have to hear, but we're in that line of work, and it's unfortunate. And I mean, this happens, in our line of work. There's no way of getting around it. It does happen. But like I said, calls involving children seem to really take the cake, are really, really hard calls to get over. So thank you guys for what you guys do. You guys are professionals. You're very good. But anyways, getting on with the podcast, or with this episode, number 9. This call, like I said, happened about 2 years ago. It was during the summer, and we received a call, a 911 call, of a bus accident. Now, this bus accident happened on Highway 65 North, near a little town, just outside of a town called Bockenberg, and it was a church bus that had wrecked on the highway. So the caller calls in and says, "Hey, there's a church bus accident. It looks like there's probably some people injured. I'm not really sure, but you need to get somebody out here quick." So I'm like, okay, my partner's listening on the line. We get several more calls coming through on this because this is on Highway 65. Highway 65 is a very, very busy highway. So we get a lot of calls of passerbyers coming through and seeing this accident. And one call that I particularly took that gave me how many people were hurt was actually a call that was inside of the van, which one of the adults that was inside the church bus was able to call 911. And there's a bunch of screaming and a lot of things going on. And she tells me, she says, yes, there's 12 people, 12 children on this bus that are injured. We need help us. And so I look at my partner. I said, okay, we need to get a helicopter inbound. This is a trauma case. We have possibly kids that are trapped inside of this van. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. But we got to take care of it. And this is why I love my job, because I have the ability to take care of this tragedy. Like I said, this tragedy that's happened. I have the ability to take care of it. So we go ahead and get the helicopter headed that way. And she's on the phone. She's calling him, talking to him. While she's doing that, I'm over there on my station. I'm toning out JAWS. I'm toning out ambulance, firefighters. I'm getting the sheriff's department, police headed out there. I'm getting everybody I can to get out to this accident while my partner's dealing with AirVac. She's also answering radio at the same time. We were very, very busy with this call. And so after she gets off the phone, there was kind of like some break in between there. And I kind of looked at her. I said, you get a chopper inbound? She said, yeah, I got a chopper. And I said, I looked at her. I said, how many or which one? And she just kind of looked at me and smiled. And she said, I got 6 choppers inbound. And I just kind of looked at her. I said, 6 choppers? She said, 6 choppers are inbound right now. We called AirVac. They notified some others. So we got 12 people hurt, 12 people injured, 12 children. And we got 6 choppers. This is why I love my job, guys. Because we have the ability to make a difference and to go out there. And even though these kids are in a bad way right now, we are sending the best help, the best help that we can give to them. We're sending it to them. And so we're able to do that. So my rescue units get on scene. JAWS get on scene. The fire department gets there. And they're starting to work, Well, somebody establishes incident command. Which incident command is basically a person that's in charge of the entire scene. So it could be a firefighter. Most of the time it's going to be a firefighter or a first responder, somebody that kind of knows the scene size up and knows what's going on. So the IC was able to establish a landing zone on the highway because there weren't no landing zone that was close, and we needed them right there. So they just established a landing zone on the highway, and they landed in rotation. In rotation, they landed 5 choppers. 5 of the 6 choppers that my partner called were actually used. It's so amazing that we can provide those resources to especially children. We can provide these resources to anybody, but in this incident, we provided it to children, and they got the best care. And then I had 3 ambulances there. The rest of the kids got in the ambulances. They had very, very minor injuries, thank God. But we did have some that were trapped underneath the van. That's why extrication was called out, and they were able to rapidly extricate them with no further injury. So they were able to take care of that. But the prime thing here is, guys, y'all responders that are out there, okay, that responded to this call. If you're listening to this episode and you remember, make sure you share or chime in your thoughts, because I know some of y'all guys are going to listen to this. For those responders, you guys are professionals. You guys did so good at what you do. You're trained at it. You're very, very good with what you do. And, the EMS workers, paramedics, EMTs, you're professionals. The firefighters, you did a professional job. Incident command, we're giving these children, especially in this type of an incident or emergency, we're giving those children the best thing that they can get in their time of need in this tragedy. So congratulations, guys. And you guys, from the bottom of my heart, I really feel this way, that you guys do an amazing job. You do great. You do great work. And so, especially on this call, I remember this day and this call, and my first thoughts were, oh my God, this is terrible. But we made something terrible into the best situation that we could have made it in. And I include the dispatchers in this. We make a difference. We're the true first responders. We're there on the call with we might not be able to see this, but we're there and we get people there. But anyways, back on the accident. So they load the kids up and take them to the hospital. Like I said, there was no further injury. They had minor injuries. Some of them were actually wearing their seatbelts, which was, is awesome. It's great. Some of the adults were okay, but there was 5 critical that went on the choppers, and they went to a trauma center, wherever they went. They went to Little Rock, and they were treated there. Find out later that there was no fatalities. And nobody was, no one was seriously injured as far as, the 5 critical were, but they recovered just fine. So with that being said, my partner, did a great job at notifying those choppers, and it was so great. It was such an awesome thing to be able to provide that kind of care. And I know it was just a terrible, terrible thing. And it was tough. It was tough as a dispatcher to get kind of over that. I mean, we have a job to do. I get it. But like I said, some of the calls dealing with children, that is very, 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 very rough and very hard to do. So anyways, that's pretty much it with this. Like I said, most of them, all the children end up being fine without any further incident, and they were able to get the van removed. Not sure what caused the accident. I think they were carrying a trailer that might have helped flip it over, wind or something. I'm not sure what flipped it over, but these kids were either going to or coming from. I can't really remember, but they were going to or coming from church camp. So, but anyways, the Lord was there with them that day, and it was just a very, very intense call that I took. So, hope you guys enjoy this episode. This podcast was really close to my heart, so this episode was really close to my heart. So, I hope you guys enjoy this. Please send me your comments, your feedback, anything that you guys would like to add. If you remember this call, for sure share this. Add your own. Add what you experienced. Put in there what you've seen. I would really like to hear that, and maybe we can put that stuff on the air. So anyways, once again, I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode of Thin Line Radio Podcast. This is episode number 9, and this was the church bus accident. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Thin Line Radio Podcast with Eric Gladstone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.